Joe Volpe, publisher of Corriere Canadese, North America's only Italian language daily newspaper, here on behalf of Go Live TV and Corcan Media Group. My special guest today, our special guest today, is Charline Grant. Charline, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
She's a trustee candidate for the York
Region District
School Board. I got that right.
Yes, you did.
Okay, so there you go. So you want to be, Charline, you want to be a trustee. Now, a trustee, what does a trustee do?
What I want to be the voice for the parents and the students of York Region, Wards 1 and 2. I want to be able to advocate for changes that I've discovered that needs to be made in the school board.
So no, but that's a school board that's had its share of difficulties, and I think maybe our technicians can bring out some of the stuff that we saw last year and the year before.
Absolutely. There have been a number of issues that was at the board that myself and a group of other parents were fighting for the board to acknowledge and change, and that's why I'm even here. That's where I started.
So it was an issue, as I should recall, because our reporters covered it.
Yes, you did.
There's a whole pile of others as well. There we have some images there, but some of the events that took place, that there was an affront to the dignity of some students.
Absolutely. Some students weren't feeling valued or even included, and their dignity was being trampled on. And as a parent, I couldn't stand for that. My children were involved, as well as anyone should find issue with that children dignity needs to be acknowledged.
So what was it? What happened? One of the teachers or an administrator made some comments that were not very pleasant.
Absolutely. There were a number of incidences. There wasn't just one. And we tried to resolve it ourselves by having meetings, and it just wasn't being acknowledged by the board. That's when we decided to advocate, and we decided to take it further to the Minister of Education to try and get answers.
So you're telling me that the administration, the principal, superintendents, directors, they weren't responding to you?
No, they weren't responding. Well, they were by making excuses for these teachers. I mean, you cannot have a student in the school system feeling like they don't belong, feeling like they're being marginalized. For example, there were so many racial slurs and racial undertone that were being used, and that's where I had to step in.
And you had a lot of support, as I recall.
Absolutely.
Well, there's a lot of those images that we were showing before that we could probably continue. Well, that's you right there, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
That's me at a school board meeting after the board convened to discuss some of the issues that we're having, and the trustees were there at the time anyways, trying to resolve what was happening, and there was just no answers.
No, but the trustees, their job is to make sure that the parents get heard.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what you were asking for.
That's what I want to do. I want to be that voice to listen to every parent who comes with any issue and try and get them some transparency.
But you shouldn't even get to that spot. What was the director doing?
The director at one point was trying to just keep his job because he was under a 10-year term that was given.
10 years.
10 years.
Who gets a 10-year contract?
The trustees gave him that job, that contract.
You're running against one of those trustees.
Yes, I am, which was my trustee, the same trustee. I actually reached out to her at the time on a few occasions, and those phone calls or emails weren't even returned.
No kidding.
No, not at all.
So I guess a cynic would say, well, why bother running for a spot if you're never going to respond to anybody that asks you to fulfill your job?
That's what one would think, but that's why I'm there, because that trustee is running again. And the way I look at it and the way I look at the whole situation, even in the ministry report after the investigation, it said some of those trustees are unfamiliar in what their job is supposed to be. I have been doing that job by advocating not only for my family, but for the community in Wards 1 and 2.
Wards 1 and 2. It just as a little bit of a digression. Where's Wards 1 and 2?
Well, Wards 1 and 2, 2 is Woodbridge.
Right.
Wards 1 is Maple, Kleinburg, and a little bit of King City.
So it's a fairly big area.
Yes, it is.
But it's for the public school board.
It's for the public school board.
We're not talking about the Catholic school board. It has its own problems.
No, we're talking about the public school board where we're trying to get a board and a system that caters to all students.
Now, as I recall, we'll just finish this off, but I want to take advantage of the fact that you're here. So the director of education had a 10-year contract.
Absolutely.
Things weren't working out.
Things weren't.
The chairman of the board, who is the person you're running against,
Yes.
found it opportune to resign her post.
Exactly.
So she did so under pressure.
No, she got voted out. She lost the chair position at December of 2016.
Well, that's pretty good pressure.
Yes.
If people finally said, well, I'm sorry, we need different leadership.
Absolutely.
So she was out, but she was a big supporter of the director and his 10-year contract.
They were friends.
Okay, so that friendship, I'm being a cynic, you can be more polite than I am. I'm being a cynic. That friendship prevented somebody from doing their job.
Absolutely. I mean, the board, even from my own, just the investigation and the report that came up by the Ministry of Education, that the trustees was operating under fear. Which there was a lot of friendship, and that's not what it's supposed to be about. As a trustee, you're elected by the taxpayers of your ward to be able to advocate and be able to help their children be successful.
Well, that's why you send them to school.
That's right.
That's why parents give their kids up to a different authority, but they expect that authority to act like they would.
For majority of the day, parents trust their children to strangers, pretty much, which they're hoping to be their friends, to not only educate them, but to protect them.
So in other words, you expect the school board and its officials and its teachers to act in legal term in loco parentis, in the place of a parent.
Every parent should want and should expect teachers and administrators to treat their children the way they would.
Okay, so that's on the part of the dignity side of the social component of
Yes.
school, because you've got to bring people together. There are those who say that a school board, a school system is there to shape the children of tomorrow, the citizens of tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So what are some of the skills? What else do they need besides being treated like dignified men and women or children?
Well, we need to improve their reading skills, their math skills, their core education, innovative education system that they could change with the times so they could compete on a global level. That's what we need our students to be. We need to prepare them for tomorrow.
But the association that does the testing
Yes.
for kids' performance in grammar, English, reading, in mathematics, they're demonstrating, or they're finding, that the skills level are going further and further down.
Absolutely. The studies have shown, there's some schools that absolutely, like I've said it before, there's certain schools in the York region and there's certain things that they do well, but there's still deficiencies. And there's certain schools that prepare their children to take these tests, but that's math and English. We're talking about science. We're talking about technology that's changing. Even something as simple as coding, I think, should be part of the education
But
system.
if they're not doing a good job in English and in reading and writing and in mathematics, what kind of faith and confidence can you have in them doing other things?
If the trustees remember why they were elected and who they were elected by and hold the board accountable and be able to put forward policies that has teeth, that be able to hold the school board accountable, we could get it done.
So, Charline, I've met you outside of this interview. So you said you're a mother, obviously, because you've got kids going to that school. How many kids have you got?
I have 3 children, 17, actually it was 17 yesterday, 17,
Wish them a happy birthday.
I will, 17, 14, and 8. So grade 3, grade 9, and grade 12.
So you've got kids in the school system for at least one more year, one of them, and the others are going to be in there for a while, yeah.
For a while. French immersion, that's
Is that where they go?
that's where they go.
And are they learning any math there?
They're learning math. It was actually my son's grade 10 teacher, math teacher, who said to us during an interview with her that she finding kids that are coming out of the elementary school system are lacking certain basic math skills.
Well, the association that I mentioned, the Testing Association for Quality Education in Ontario, what they find is that the kids who are not performing up to grade level in grade 3 are probably the same ones who are falling way behind in grade 6 when they're tested again, and then again in grade 9. So, but there doesn't seem to be any remediation programming between grade 3 and 6, grade 6 and 9.
There are things in place because there's certain schools that offer a lot of tutoring and a lot of math help and help afterwards. But sometimes the parents are not aware of it, the students are not aware of it.
There's got to be money available for informing the parents, for advertising what you have. Like, how does anybody find out what goes on in that school or that school board?
That's exactly what I'm hoping to change. The transparency and the access to information, that's something that I believe every parent should be aware of what's available to them. Not only, the education part of it is one aspect, even for mental health issues and other support that they might need for their children.
But you know what? Yeah, I'm almost surprised to hear you say that. The Ministry of Education makes available in grants for student needs about $12,300 per year. So, you've got 3 kids in the school system. That's $36,900 that the province is contributing via your taxpayer dollars for those 3 kids. And you're still telling me that a school board is oblivious to the needs of those kids and other kids?
The financial accountability piece is very important to me as well. In that report that I keep mentioning, the Ministry of Education came out and said there was proven that there was misspending and mismanagement of funds. It was absolutely ridiculous because we have parents, for example, myself, my children come home and there's numerous field trips and we have to pay for it.
Well, how could you do that? What do they do with that $12,300?
That's what I need to get in there to find out.
Okay, well, listen, I'll tell you what, Charline, good luck to you. I think that what we need is people who, like Charline, want to take the bull by the horns, so to speak, and say, hey, this is what we're going to do. If we make this kind of money available for educating our kids, and I mean our kids, not mine, not yours, not all of ours, then let's get the job done. That's why the school board exists, and that's why you need people with some conviction,
That's
people
right.
with passion,
Absolutely.
people with a vision.
Absolutely.
Okay, I sound like a preacher, but I'm not. I'm only an interviewer, and I'm happy that you came to be interviewed. Now, don't forget, Charline Grant, York District Board, School Board, that's the word, in Kleinburg, King
Maple,
City,
King City, that's right,
and
Woodbridge.
okay, so but if you're Catholic, you can't vote for her. And if you're not Catholic, you should vote for her.
That's right.
Is that your message?
Absolutely.
Okay, Charline, thank you very much. Thanks again on behalf of Go Live TV, Corriere Media Group, and Corriere Canadese, wishing you good viewing and come to our next interview. Meanwhile, thank you once again, Charline Grant,
That's
candidate
right.
trustee.
Thank you.
All the
Carmen.
best.
Thank you very much.
Okay.